Hello there, Yvonne here. I'm in slightly different surroundings today because I'm going to be hand making necklaces and bracelets without metal smithing. So this is what I've been working on. I've got two necklaces here. One has got, the shorter one has got pearls, turquoise and a little space bead either side, and this one's the same but it's got rhodochrosite beads all around it. So this is what we're aiming for now. It's called the tin cup style, and I've been doing a little bit of research, and the reason it's called tin cup style is because there's a film with Kevin Costner and Rene Russo, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and during the film Rene wore this style of jewellery, but in a 3-strand pearl necklace, but this style with the gaps between, and the film was called The Tin Cup. So it became, after that, tin cup necklace. So this is what we're going to be making today. If you'll bear with me, I'll pop the camera down and we'll get on with it. Okay, so this is what I've got on my board. The necklaces, let me bring those in again so you can see them, were made out of these large pearls, which are 10mm. So I thought today we would make a little bracelet in this method. So I feel that those are too big for a bracelet, so I'll pop those to one side, and I've got some of these smaller little ring pearls that are actually they're drilled through the centre there, so that should give quite a nice effect, I'm hoping. I've also got some Griffin silk. Now I haven't got much here because I don't like wasting it, and this is what was left after knotting a pearl necklace. Also, let me tell you, it is Griffin silk and it's size 6, and the name of the colour is beige. So there we go. So I'll put those out of the way. So I've got my piece here and it has got the needle on the end, so we should be okay with that. What I've also got is my tweezers, a ruler. I've got two little, now it depends what you call them. Some people call these culottes, some people call them clamshells. I've got 2 of those, but you don't have to use those. Obviously you can still use your French wire or your wire guardian, your preference, whichever you choose. I've then also got a couple of jump rings and a bolt ring clasp. Okay, so we've mentioned the tweezers. So what I've got over here is 2 of the important things. So let me show you this one first. I'd got these, but I didn't know where they were, and I wanted to make those 2 necklaces. So I did a little bit of improvisation and I cut myself a piece of foam, which is 3/4 of an inch along there, that way. And I made it, actually I don't know how deep it is, but that doesn't really matter, it's whatever you've got. That is between 1/2 and 3/4 of an inch. And then I got a pair of scissors and all I did was cut a little slit in it, and that actually I used to make those 2 necklaces, so it actually worked very, very well. But if you don't have any foam around the place, or you don't want to make your own, or you want to be a little bit more professional and use the right gear, then there's these. Let me show you the packet first. They are bead-along and they're called Not a Bead spacers. So let me take them out of the packet and show you what they are. There's lots of instructions in there, which looking at that first picture there shows you how the pearl is knotted either side. So I'll put that back because I know how to use it. So let's get these two little babies out of here so that I can show you. Now, one is 3/4 of an inch, which should be the same as my piece of foam. Is it? Yep. So they're the same length that way. Mine's just a little bit more tubby, I think. So let's put that away. So we've got that one, which is 3/4 of an inch, and it does say so on the side. It's obviously more rigid than mine. It's got hard cardboard around it, and this one is 1/2 an inch. Now, I've only used the 3/4 of an inch one before because that's what I improvised. So today, because it's a bracelet, I'm going to use the 1/2 inch one. So let's put those aside. As you will see, these have got, let me see if I can show you this. These have got the same slit down the centre, or similar slit that I put in mine. So it's the same system really. Okay, so let's clear all that stuff off the board and see what we can do. So first of all, I'm going to make an overhand knot. In fact, I'm going to make a double overhand knot because I quite like, although it's number 6, and number 6 is, what do they say on the card, 0.7 millimeters. So it's quite thick. I hope it'll go through those pearls anyway. I'm sure it will. So let's have a look. So we're going to do this double knot, put one knot on top of the other, so we've got a nice secure knot there. Okay, so then we get our clamshell, calotte, whatever you call it. And sorry, we go down from the inside. There's a little hole in the middle there. We're going to go through that hole. Let me show you. Through that hole with the needle. Pull it through. This is going to work much better not having yards and yards of silk to pull through, because it's quite boring watching that. So those two knots pull inside that clamshell. Okay, now you can, if you wish, put a dab of glue in there. I think if they were heirloom pearls or something very special for a customer, I probably would, if I was using this. Although if it was for a customer, I would definitely use French wire and do it in the traditional way. But anyway, by the by, you can put a dab of glue in if you would like to. So then what we do is we get a pair of chain nose pliers, flat nose pliers, whatever you like, and we're going to push those two sides very, very gently together. Okay. In fact, what I'm going to do is just snip that long end off there because it's going to get in the way. So there's no wet glue on there, so let's just get rid of it. There we go. So that's got rid of that. So now let's close this up very, very gently, little bit at a time. Close up the sides and close up that side. Make sure they both meet. Just move them a little bit at a time. It's all in the finish on these things, so make sure you you do it very, very gently. Right, now I've still got a little bit of cord. Because I'm trying to show the camera, I'm just going to hold this where I can see it, so I can snip this little piece off so that it looks nice and neat. Okay, help me out here. A little piece of silk. Okay. There we go. There we go. There's a little bit. I'll tuck that in. Okay. So pretend I've tidied that up. Okay. Now, what you'll find with these, what I find with these clamshells is that there's always a little gap at the side, and you don't want to push too hard with your pliers because, there we go. You don't want to push too hard with your pliers because it's obviously going to squash this lovely dome effect that we have here. So I've got a little trick for you where that's concerned. So what we do is we hold that out of the way. At the bottom where it's folded over, it's not a hinge, but it's the little bit where it's folded over right next to where the cord comes out. Let's see if I can show you that. So yeah, so it's these two little pieces either side the cord. Now, if you get your chain nose pliers and put them on one side and squeeze, you'll find it closes up that gap. Now, I've still got a piece of silk sticking out of that side, but let me show you on this side. If I can just get my pliers on there, that's it. If I give that a little squeeze, see how it closes it up? And then you can just tidy that up and tidy it round until you've got a nice, neat start to your piece of jewellery. I'm not sure if that was blurred for you, so I'll bring it back a little bit. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all, we're going to do an overhand knot right next to that because I don't want a pearl touching that metal. So here we go. Let's do our overhand knot again, like that. And I want to pull that up as close as I can to that piece of metal finding there. So what I'm going to do is I've done an overhand knot. There's the loop. I'm going to put the tweezers inside that loop, hold that silk like that, and pull the silk right that. So now you've got a knot right up close to where that culotte is, and then you can get your tweezers and don't push with, try not to push with your tweezers. I mean, it's more important when you're using a more like a lower number silk, which is finer. But then if you pull this while holding it with your tweezers, you'll then got a beautiful knot right close to the culotte like that. Okay, there we go. Right, so the next thing we do is, right, what do we want to do? So we could now put a pearl there if we wanted to, or we could use our little spacer and we could put our, if we push that into that slit there, come on, there you go, in you go. This is because it's new, I suspect. So let's, there we go. Let me just open this up a bit. I suspect this is because it's new. Once you've used it a little, it'll start to give a little bit more. There we go. So we've got that in our little slit. So we've got the knot we've just made popping out this side, and then we're going to put another knot this side, which should mean that we've got a 1/2 inch between our knots. So what we're going to do is leave that on there, do our overhand knot, like that, smooth those out of the way. So now we've got our overhand knot. Let me lay this out so you can see it properly. So we're going to put our tweezers up against there, and hold on to this piece of silk that comes out of the spacer. But we're going to go through that loop and then hold that by the foam, pull this silk up against the tweezers. There we go. Pop that out. Tighten up the knot. There we go. So now we've got, that should have stayed in there actually. So there we go. So we've got our knot that side and our knot that side. If we can see, I've got a knot there and a knot there. So there should be 1/2 inch between those two knots. So what do we do next? We get one of our pearls. So let's pick up one of these. Slide that on. Oh, that looks pretty going that way, doesn't it? I'd only used these round pearls before, but because that's drilled in the centre where the rings are, that actually looks quite pretty. So what I'm going to do now is another overhand knot, all very, very simple, very simple. Put it down on the board, make sure that pearl is up against the knot, put our tweezers through the loop, hold on to the silk right next to the pearl, smooth that out of the way for a minute. I hope you can see what I'm doing, and then pull this silk tightly up against there, take out your tweezers, hold them there and pull this silk here. And this beige silk looks quite nice against these pearls because they're a little bit creamy. So now that's what we've got. Okay, let's see if we can show you that. Show it against my hand, yeah. How's that? So, here we go again. And so on with this little spacer. So we push our silk in there, the knot's up against that side. See how far in. What I might do actually, because I made, but as I say, that was homemade, I made quite a deep, let me show you, I made quite a deep slit in mine. And when I put the silk in, like that, it actually went quite a way down and it didn't move. It just stays there while you do your knots, which is brilliant. But I suspect that that slit, I suspect, when you start using it properly and with use, that slit will get bigger. But anyway, I think it's already improved from the first time we used it. So here we go again. Let's do our overhand knot. Pop yourself back in there. Through the loop, up against the foam. Tie the knot. Slip out the tweezers. There we go. Make sure that's in there. So that's it. And then we hold the knot, hold just behind the knot, pull this silk with my other hand, and there we go. That's worked. Yeah, it's obviously because it's new, it just needs wearing in a little bit, but there we go. So we'll just do a few more so that you can see how it works. But it is a lovely, it's a smashing little gadget, but it doesn't mean you can't improvise and use your own. I mean, it's up to you whether you buy that or whether you get yourself a little bit of foam and make one for yourself. It certainly worked very well. So I mean, if you just wanted to try it out, you could sort of improvise and make one of your own and see if you like it. And then you could move on to the manufactured one, but only if you want to. So here we go. Let's see if you can see that. Pull it up tight against the tweezers. There we go. Slip out the tweezers. Pop them round that way. Pull the silk with your other hand, and away we go. So let's do another one. Yeah, I think I'm going to get a craft knife and just make that a little bit deeper. I think that will suit me better. Anyway, let's do another overhand knot. This knotting pearls this way, or saying that, they don't have to be pearls. They can be any type of beads or gemstones or whatever. They don't have to be pearls, but traditionally we knot pearls. And this way for me is my favourite. I just twisted that round. This is my favourite way. So let's make sure that's in the right place because we want them all spaced out nicely. And we're going to, oops, drop the tweezers. So we go in through the loop, follow that silk that's coming out of the sponge, hold on to that, tie your knot, slip out the tweezers, let's make sure that's in there properly, and slide this piece of silk with this hand down there. Okay, we'll do one more, and then I'm sure you have probably seen enough of this now. I'm hoping to make I think a 7-inch bracelet. I mean, let's have a look. That's going to look quite nice, isn't it? Very casual. I'm sure you could measure your chain like this as well if you wanted to put chain in between, but I haven't tried that. But that's one thing I will try next time I make one of these necklaces. And then, because chain is quite difficult to handle when you're cutting off like 1/2-inch pieces. It's very it moves around a lot, let's put it that way, and it's difficult to get all the links, all the pieces the same size. But I'm sure if you tucked in your fine little chain in there, that would help with that as well. And of course, then you'd probably wrap loop your pearls and wrap loop them onto your bits of chain as you would normally. So look, there we have, we've got 3, I've put 3 pearls on there. And we now have, I think I want a 7-inch. So let's see, by the time I've put that on and a jump ring, that's going to bring it down to there. You see, that's already 4 inches, or yeah, about 4 inches, just under. So I'll put another 2 or 3 on here and then I'll come back to you. Okay, I've now got 6 pearls on there, and I've put my little spacer for the last knot up against the knot holding that pearl, and I'm going to do one more knot there. So we do overhand knot, and if I could just say, I've only used that a few times, as you've seen, and it's already, the cord is, or silk or whatever you're using, is going in much better, and it's holding. So it just needed a bit of use, I think. So let's get this back now. I've lifted it up and moved it. So go in through our loop, hold next to the sponge, pull this cord close up against the tweezers, and slide that close in. Okay, so now we can put on the other culotte, which is here, and we're going to go this time from the outside in. So I'll see if I can show you the little hole that's in there. I'm not sure. Let's hold it with a pair of tweezers and see if I can show you the hole. You see it? There it is. So we're going to put our little needle through there. Working left-handed now. I should just turn it around so I'm more comfortable. But anyway, it's not too tricky. So let's pop that down there. So we've now got our last knot, so that we've got that clamshell, culotte, whatever, is sitting against that knot as it was right at the beginning. And now we're going to knot inside that little cup there. So yet again, as we did at the beginning, I want a double knot in there. So this is how I do that. So overhand knot. And instead of holding it up against a pearl or holding it up against the foam, we're now going to go in through our loop, and we're going to hold that silk inside that fastening. Don't you tuck around there. We don't need you in there. There we are. Okay, and we can still get hold of that with our tweezers, as we have been doing. Pull this. I'll show you in a sec. Let's tighten that up as much as we can. It's slightly more tricky because obviously you've got a more restricted space. But anyway, there we are. We've now got a knot inside that, and to hold it in place. But I'm going to do a double knot as we did before. Let's see if I can. It's always more tricky when you're showing somebody else, but we'll do our best. So let's get hold of that other knot. Determined to go around the back. Pull that knot. There we go. So now we've got our knot to sit inside there. Now, before I start closing this up, let's not make the same mistake. Let's snip that off before we start. So that should sit nice and neatly inside our little culotte there. That actually could have been a little bit tighter up against that knot. So let's see what we can do. Okay, so now we're going to get our tweezers again, and if you can see, hopefully you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go either side of that culotte there, very gently, very gently. As you can see, they don't take a lot of bending. But I might be able to show you a little bit better on this one. If you have a look, you see that gap? And I don't know if surely it's not only me that happens to, but there's one on the other side. Look, there's just that gap. But I do find that if you just squeeze that flat bit at the bottom, Let's do it again. Squeeze it. You see that? Let's see if you can. That's actually closed it up, you see, and it makes an awful lot of difference. You know, it's surprising if you're selling your jewellery how many people pick it up and look at the. Let's see if I can do it while you're looking at it. Right, now you can see the gap. Squeeze, and that gap disappears like magic. Okay, so now my little clamshells, they've got loops on the end. So what I want to do is just close those two loops. Well, they haven't got loops on the end, they're open loops. So what I want to do is get my tweezers and just close those up slightly, so I can get, but still so that I can get a jump ring through. There we go. So that's what I've done. Let's see if I can show you. Yeah, so we've got enough room to put a jump ring through there now, look. And I'll do the same on the other side. They're ever such useful little findings, particularly if you're not making fine jewellery. You know, you're not using your heirloom jewels or anything. So, right, now we get 2 pairs of tweezers. We'll put the smaller one. We've got the smaller one here. Oops. To go through the loop on my bolt ring clasp and through that loop. Like that. I'm going to close those up, open like a gate, do a little wiggle until they're sitting nicely, there's no rough edges. Not quite happy with that, so reposition. Perfect. And we'll do the same the other side, but this time all we've got to do is put this larger jump ring on the other side. I normally put a larger one on to go into the bolt ring clasp if that's what you're using, but of course you can use whatever clasp you like. Toggle clasp, magnetic clasp, whatever you fancy. The design is yours. So let's, okay, come on, help us out here. There we go. So now we've got a nice little, oh, actually, let's measure it. I was going to say 7-inch bracelet, but it's probably a little bit more than that now. So we've got, actually, it's 8 1/4 inches. So let's have a look, see if it fits me. Well, mind you, I'm not sure if I can fasten that bolt ring myself, but anyway. So, yes, it does. And how pretty does that look? So, we've now got a lovely little bracelet and our necklaces. In the tin cup style. Named from the film The Tin Cup. Thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye.